Today I'm going to be interviewing my cousin Roberto about his company, Custom Elevation. Roberto, tell us how your company started. Tell us about its history.
I would like to thank Clara, Isabela, and the rest of their group for interviewing me. And basically, I'm here to talk about how Mariano Estrada, my partner, and I started Custom Elevation, and give you an insight on the business and what it was like to be an entrepreneur during the time we were at the University of Notre Dame. I'm going to explain to you the history of the company in 10 different points. Starting off by the first one, which is when Mariano Estrada and I met, basically decided to talk about starting something for ourselves for our last year in college. I was going to be a senior in Notre Dame and he was going to be a junior, and we were going to be roommates for a year, and we wanted to do something besides all the classes we were taking and the schoolwork and the extracurricular activities. We wanted to start our own business. And he came up with the idea of selling hammocks in college bookstores. It's a big idea, but with a good twist. We had a unique product, something that was hand woven, which is extremely appreciated in the U.S. market. It is very rare to find. It has very good quality, and we thought we had the right niche market, which was the University of Notre Dame. Because we were there, we knew the right people to get the product into the bookstore, and we knew the artisans to make it happen. So that's how it all started. Second step we took was we headed to Masaya, and we met with this family of artisans called the Suazo family. We talked to them about the whole idea, and we decided to start to produce models. We did around 10 to 12 hammocks. All of these were customized with the Notre Dame logo and the Notre Dame motto, which is Go Irish, on one end, the logo on the other. After producing these models, we headed back to Notre Dame. We brought, I think it was 11 hammocks. Once we got to Notre Dame, we decided to meet with the Notre Dame bookstore, right? Because that was going to be our store. We were going to be their vendor. That was the idea. And we decided to talk to the bookstore and ask them how could we register our product in that bookstore. And they basically told us this was going to be an extremely long process, and we were going to have to fill a ton of requirements, including moral requirements of production labor, and we also needed money to basically to pay out this license. So Mariano and I started doing the entire application. It took us around 3 months. This was from around August to November. At the same time, since we had just started this business, we had to formalize it. And how could two kids in college who don't know anything about business start a business? We got into a website we heard about in a TV commercial called LegalZoom. We got into the website and we just had to pay a fee of $100, and we legalized the entire company. And we brainstormed for like a month, and we finally got to a name. We decided to name the company Custom Elevation.
How did you come up with this name?
Custom Elevation, it's really interesting, the story behind this name. The reason it's called Custom Elevation is because we customize our products based on our clients' suggestions. An example, if Clara wants a blue hammock, and her friend asked for a blue hammock, and her other friend asked for a blue hammock, then we decide to start producing an entire line of blue hammocks based on a number of suggestions on that specific product. That's why it's called custom, because we customize our products. And elevation, because behind this whole idea was basically the cornerstone of our business, our drive, which was giving back to the artisanal community in Masaya. We wanted to elevate artisans' lives back home in Nicaragua, and that's the reason we call it the elevation, custom elevation. And ironically, the first product we started with, the hammock, was elevated from the ground, so it had a subliminal meaning as well.
Would you please show us the logo you came up with and explain it to us?
This is currently the star product of Custom Elevation. It's called a Salveque. It's a very trendy product. It's a handbag, 100% cotton, hand woven, and as you can see, that's the logo. This logo was designed by a company in New York. Basically, were very helpful. They knew we were students. They knew we were trying something new and different, and they wanted to help. So they did a couple of runs. As you can see, the C stands for custom and the E for elevation, and there's a hammock in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to continue to talk to you about custom elevation. After that, while we were fulfilling the college application, we had become a legal company. We needed money to invest in our products and to invest in the company. So what do? We got into the Notre Dame business competition. And this was recommended to us by our college counselor. It's called the Gigo Entrepreneurial Competition. There are 250 applicants a year in this competition. Everyone has completely different ideas, from a whiskey company to a car sales company to a sunglass company, all the way to a clothing line company. Everything was completely different. We got into the competition, and it was 3 rounds. So you can imagine, we were in class studying for our exams. We were fulfilling the collegiate license application to get the rights to put the logo and get into the bookstore, and we were competing in a business competition. 3 things at the same time. So we basically didn't sleep for an entire semester. It was exhausting, but it was fun because we had never done anything like it. We got into the competition, and we made it through the first round. We made it to the second round. We finally made it to the final round, where there were 10 groups in the finals. Out of those 10 groups, 5 were chosen by these angel investors, which are these teams, these groups that decide to invest in companies because they believe in them. And Custom Elevation was chosen among those 5. And we got a prize of $7,500 in money and research. So we used this to head back to Nicaragua in December and start producing more products. Even though we hadn't been registered in the bookstore, we took a risk and we decided to make more and more hammocks to have production to be able to sell in the future. Besides that, we needed investors because we were going to need more money. One of the requirements we had to fulfill to put our product in the Notre Dame bookstore was that the artisans had to work in a separate space with good working conditions. Most artisans work in their houses in Nicaragua, and it is in a very bad working atmosphere. An example is that they're working in the back of their house and their dog is running through in the middle of the production room. None of them have uniforms. They all have really bad working hours. They do not have good earnings because their product is undervalued in the Nicaraguan market. It's a saturated market because in Masaya, if you go to Masaya, there's a street full of artisans, and they're all selling the exact same product, hammocks. So the product becomes a commodity. If our idea was to get this product in the United States, where there wasn't anything like it, so we could price the product at its actual value, like a piece of art. So we got this group of artisans, and we told them to take us to their old house. And we made that old house our factory. We got 3 investors in less than a month, and we used that money to invest in the house and remodel it. And that became our production house. We got 3 production rooms out of that and 2 storage rooms. During the entire process, we were taking pictures and basically documenting everything because we needed that proof for the Notre Dame bookstore application. I would say around January 18th, we headed back to Notre Dame with the entire house remodeled, with the money from the investors, and we sent all of the images to the bookstore, and we started to wait for their answer. Around 3 months later, we got their answer, and the Notre Dame bookstore accepted Custom Elevation as its new vendor, and the first students in Notre Dame's history to sell their products at the Notre Dame bookstore. Once we did this, we were less than a month away from graduation, and we had to ship hammocks from Nicaragua to Notre Dame and put them in the bookstore before graduation week because that was going to be a great week to sell our products. All the parents come home from different parts around the world, and they want to buy gifts for their children to remember their graduation. And what was a better gift than a hammock at this time? So we spoke with the entire artisan team, and we made them produce as many hammocks as we could, and we got them all the way to Notre Dame in less than a month, and we were able to put them in the bookstore before the graduation. Of course, we couldn't have done any of this without the support of all of our friends at the University of Notre Dame. All of them were extremely supportive, extremely helpful. Our parents, our family, all of my cousins, and our advisors at Notre Dame. They were in an enormous amount of help. They were always on top of the project. That's basically how Notre Dame started. That was from the summer of 2012 to the summer of 2013.
So Roberto, going back to your product, can you please describe it in more detail and describe us how your company is working right
Since
now?
then, custom elevation has evolved a lot. We started out selling hammocks. That used to be our star product. Now that is far from it. Right now after about 6 months after we graduated, we came up with a new product called Salbeke. I have it right here. I'm going to share it with you. This is a hand-woven handbag, which was designed actually by my mother. And this is a bag that is 100% cotton. It's hand-woven, and as you can see, it has the logo of Notre Dame, and it has this tag that basically tells the story about what we do and why we do it. I'm going to read it to you. It says, "By purchasing a hand-woven salbeke, you are helping us provide better working conditions and educational scholarships for the children of Nicaraguan artisans."
Okay, Roberto, now I'm going to make you another question. I'm going to talk to you about what is a market economy. A market economy is like an economic system in which there is a free competition and prices are determined by the interaction of supply and demand. So why do you think that your company, Custom Elevation, is a market economy?
Well, I think custom elevation fits pretty well within this category because of the type of products we sell. We sell luxury products, a hammock, a salbeke, a handcrafted wooden product. Those are not needs. Those are not basic needs. Those are luxury goods that someone can buy if they can afford them just for themselves because they find the product of good use or they like how it looks, the appearance of the product. It is, it's something that it's a luxury to buy that product. That's what I want to say. And these products, when you say that the price are determined by the interaction of the supply and demand, that is completely true. When we started to sell the hammock, we were pricing the hammock at $300 in the United States. That was our entry price at the bookstore. But since our target was university students, and students have a very small college budget for themselves, they couldn't afford the hammock. And the hammock was not being sold that often. So we had to reduce our price to $200, and immediately after that, the demand increased. So our products, you can see an immediate effect on the demand of our products based on the price. The fact that these are handmade products gives us, gives us the opportunity to price them at a high price, but we believe that is the price they deserve because they are products that take time to make and they are not easy to make.
Okay, thank you for your time, Roberto, and I hope that your company keeps on getting better and better.
All right, thank you, Cara. Thank you to the whole San Agustin School. Isabella over there.
Senior classroom.
You over there, stop talking right now. And we were thinking about making a salbeke for the entire senior class with your colors, green and blue. And we're going to make the model in a couple of weeks, and we're going to see what everyone over there thinks about them. Thanks for the support, and thanks for interviewing Custom Elevation.